What's up, everybody? Happy Friday. It's your boy Al. Been away for a couple of weeks. Got really sick, sinuses and flu and allergies and everything at the same time. Really had me messed up. Y'all didn't want to see me on camera with my eyes all red, face all swole. So, but I'm back, feeling good. Thank the Lord. It's a nice Friday. On the way home. Wanted to talk about this Stephon Clark issue. Young man who got shot in his grandmother's backyard when the cops they mistakenly thought he had a gun when he had a cell phone, and fired 20 times at the brother and shot him 8 times, actually shooting him, as we learned, in the back. There are a couple of things about this story that are just heartbreaking. Number one, once again, another black man is gunned down when the cops say they fear for their lives. And that's something that's really, as I think about it, it's something that's really, I'm really starting to question the sincerity of these police officers when they say this. I've always questioned. I'm not really starting. I've always questioned it. But the question that I have for any police officer is, why are you always expecting the worst out of black people? Why are you so fearful? And the reason why I call bullcrap on these police fearing for their life, feeling they had to use deadly force to the extent where they had to fire 20 shots, was that I've seen several videotapes of white men with guns pointing them at police officers, not get gunned down, not have bullets rain down on them. I've seen videos of white men come running full speed at police officers, wielding all kind of weapons, knives, machetes, sharp objects, running full speed. And I've seen police officers literally break their backs and break their necks to avoid getting stabbed or getting taken out by one of these white men without ever even reaching for their gun. There was this one video clip that surfaced a few years ago of this man with a machete. He comes running at this cop, and this cop is like, I mean, he is putting on his best Pernell Whitaker, Floyd Mayweather, Roy Jones Jr., James Toney impression, Muhammad Ali backing up, trying to do everything he can to get out of this man's way. Not once did he just see this man with a machete pull out his gun and say, I'm just going to dump on you and drop you and leave it at that. And the reason why I feel that police officers do things like that when it comes to white men or white people in general is because I believe in their psyche. I believe they think that this is a life worth saving. I know this man is crazy. I know he's coming at me with a gun or with a knife or with a machete, but I don't fear for my life for whatever reason, and I feel that I don't have to pull out my gun and use deadly force because this is a life that I believe is worth saving. So what does it say about the lives of black men when immediately you pull the gun and start dumping? Immediately. What does it say about your thoughts of the lives of black men? And you wonder, y'all get annoyed at Black Lives Matter, but this is why we have to have things like that, because too often, too many times, police officers just go guns first on blacks and create and come up with all kinds of countermeasures against non-blacks, specifically whites. And I just have to ask the question, Do you believe our lives are worth going the extra mile to save? But I believe that the answer to that, obviously, based on what we've seen, is no. And number two, the other problem with that is that police officers expect the absolute worst from black people, specifically black men. I believe that in these videos where white men were attacking cops and cops who didn't do anything, in the mind of the cop, they see a white man who they really don't fear, or they're not conditioned to fear, and their expectation of him, because of who he is and what color he is that he will come to his senses. That's their expectation. The expectation of a black man is that this savage is going to kill me. And so because of that fear, that drummed up fear, police officers grab their guns and go to work and ask questions later. Now, here's the thing that I've noticed. In a lot of these shootings, not all of them, but in a lot of these shootings where black men are gunned down by police officers, they happen in non-large cities, in cities that are not major melting pot cities like Houston, Texas, even though there was a shooting not so long ago in Houston, or Los Angeles, California, which I know Los Angeles had their problems with police back in the day. But in these large cities that have become melting pots, you don't see as many police officers just grabbing their guns and going ham on black people as you do in these small, segregated, divided cities. I think part of the problem is that you have white people policing in black communities that don't spend any time outside of their uniform with black people. In a city like Houston, Texas, I've been pulled over a time or two, gotten speeding ticket for when I first got my first car. My tint was too dark. I had mirror tint on my car, what have you. And never have I been pulled over and a white cop looks like they're scared to death of what I might do. One of the reasons why that is because in a major city like Houston, Texas, it's highly likely that white cop has black friends, went to college with had black friends, went to college with black people, went to high school with black people, went to junior high school with black people, has a circle where there are black people in that circle, kicks it with black people, knows some black people, hangs out with some black people. And so seeing me isn't a big deal for him. Same thing in a city like Los Angeles. I'm sure in some pockets in Los Angeles, it's not a big deal for police officers to see black people. New York, probably not a big deal. Even though there's racism everywhere still. Probably not a big deal for a police officer to see a young black man. But it's in these cities where the police officer has to drive all the way across town from his white neighborhood, where he goes to all white restaurants and an all white church. He graduated from an all white school and sends his kids to an all white school and associates in an all white circle, that he has to go and see people whom he gets all of his information about how they are from the whispers in his inner circle and the television. And we know how horribly the television depicts black men. But he has to drive across town and see black men who he has all these preconceived notions about. And he has all this fear about or of black men because he does not know any, does not hang with any, has not had experiences with black men where he can say, you know what? All those things that people say about black people or or I see on TV about black people, that isn't all true. It's hard to be that way in Houston. When you work with somebody in the office who's black, you've gone to school with somebody who's black, it's hard for you to just see a black person like, oh, black person, I'm scared to death, I'm scared for my life. There are police officers, white police officers in the city of Houston that come into black neighborhoods, kick it with black folk, kick it with black kids, come and sit in our barbershops, shoot the stuff. And so it's no thing for them to see a black person. Now, when they need to react, they're going to react. But they don't see a black person and immediately feel I got to pull out a gun and start dumping 20 to 25 bullets just at the sight of you. And I don't feel that way because I see you every day. I interact with you. And because I see you every day, I interact with you. I kick it with you. I smile. I laugh. I talk sports in the barbershops with you. I value you as a person. You're not a caricature on the TV screen. You're not a misconception that my grandpa or my grandma put into my head. You're an actual person that I see, that I kick it with, that I go to school with, that I go to church with, that I go to restaurants with, that I go bowling with, that I play basketball with at the gym. And I interact with you. And therefore I value your life. So if God forbid a situation came where I accidentally shot you because I thought you were going for a gun, when I see that I shot you, I'm not just going to stand there holding the gun over you as I watch life seep from your body. I'm going to get on the radio and call for an ambulance because I value your life. Still think about that brother who got shot and his wife is sitting there in the car and his child, and all he can do is just hold the gun and watch the man's life see. That's a person who saw a life that was of no value. None. When you can shoot a person and watch life just leave, watch the man just convulse and his eyes roll in the back of his head, and you know that he doesn't have a gun because his wife told you that what he was going for, and you won't. Not only will you not help him, when she leans over and tries to just grab him and put her hands on her husband to show him some kind of love and care, you won't even let her do that. That's some person who's gotten all of their information from black people in the wrong places because you do not value that life. And so I believe that one of the things that needs to happen in these small towns, in these rural areas where the whites live way on this side of town and the blacks live way on this side of town, is y'all got to cut that out. You gotta kick it with people who don't look like you. You gotta. One of the things that I took pride in, my first positions out of college, I was blessed to become an operations manager for a major Fortune 500 company, and I was the boss. I was the man in charge, and I felt it was my obligation as a young black man to present myself in a way that would distill and kill a lot of preconceived notions and misconceptions about a young black man. I wanted them to hear me speaking properly, talking clearly, and know my business and know what I'm talking about, and be diverse in my subject matter, and be well dressed and properly groomed. Because for a lot of them who hold on to those preconceived notions, I took it upon myself to be the kind of person that helps break those things down. And there were plenty of times where people came into my office or my operation and saw me, and you could see them already have this look in their eye like, oh my goodness, he wanted him. And after dealing with me the first time or 2 or 3 times, they come in to do business with me and they got a smile on their face, and they can stand at the counter and sit down at the desk, and we can just talk about things and talk about life. This is a person who didn't even want to interact with me at first because they had all these preconceived notions. But after spending time with me and talking to me and understanding I am a human being I am diverse. I'm not just about all the stuff you see they try to make you think we're about on TV. You can sit down and you can talk to me and we can establish a great relationship. I did that at another company I was with also. So I think I said that to say that when you spend time with people who you do business with and for, and the police work for the people, when you spend time with the people you do business with and for, you get to know them better, and you get to break down a lot of barriers that you put up or preconceived notions that you have about people if you just spend some time with them. And I feel this is what police officers all over need to do. Now, another thing I want to discuss about this shooting is, why are white men so terrified of black men? Right? I believe that there's a lot of falsehood about a lot of the things that we've been told. I believe that there are some dirty dogs out there that are just gunning black men down. And guess what? When you allow police officers to do the things that they've done and walk away scot-free and no charges are filed, then guess what? It's going to bring out all the dirty dogs. One thing I've learned, and I learned it unfortunately today where I work, is that a person who's dirty and corrupt doesn't need to be around temptation. They can be great as long as you don't put them around that temptation. Drunk will be cool as long as you don't put them at a bar full of alcohol. A thief will be fine as long as you don't put them in a situation where they might want to steal something. And when you give dirty cops who want to hurt black people, when you put them in an environment where it's historically on record that white police officers have gunned down black men and no actions have been filed, no actions have been taken against them, you bring out all the dirty dogs. You bring them all out. And what you have are the worst of the worst acting out. And then falling back on it. All my life, I feared for my life. Why do white men always fear for their life against black men? Why? What have we done historically that make white men in badges and uniforms want to fear for their life? And riddle me this. When did police officers get so scary? Isn't there a police academy that police officers go to where they receive all types of training? Where they receive physical combat training and they learn how to handle themselves physically. So why always the deadly force? I feel that one of the reasons why it is simply because whites don't value the lives of blacks. White police officers don't value the lives of black men. Some of them don't. And then there's this. It's been discovered that this brother, and see, they always dig up dirt on brothers who've been shot. This one's a little bit different because we've learned that this is a black man who did not endorse nor like nor want to have anything to do with black women. He had a lot of things that exhibited self-hate. Dated a non-black woman who he allowed to talk mess about black women. He had children with this woman who he would not even acknowledge as black. And he exhibited a lot of characteristics as a brother who was trying to escape or deny his blackness. And it's tragic when you're trying to get away from something and it still comes back to be your undoing. And the unfortunate reality is, for a lot of people, knowing those things about him, they decided to sit down and not say anything because, you know, a lot of black women said, well, he wasn't backing us, so we're not going to back him. That's tragic. That's tragic that this brother didn't love himself enough, or love his blackness enough. You can marry whoever you want to marry. We already had that discussion. I already talked about that. But please don't try to, as a black man, try to go in on black women about what they aren't, and what they can and can't do for you, and all that kind of stuff, because you never know what kind of situation you end up in. And please don't, as a black man, don't ever think that where you live, what you have, who you date, will make you feel that people won't see your blackness. It'll always show. You can't escape it. You can date the lightest skinned other mulatto that you can find, have the prettiest wavy hair, light skinned children that you want to. But if you're a black man, you're gonna always be a black man. But God bless the brother's family. His grandmother, isn't that ironic that he talked down about black women and his black grandmother was crying for him? But there needs to be something done about these cops. Spend time with more black people. Get to know us. We're not so bad. I think y'all already know that, but y'all just holding on to something. Tell me what y'all think in the comment section. Don't forget to follow me, Al Prince II. Hit the like button, hit the subscribe button. More videos to come. Peace. Happy Friday.